According to the internet, this video has surfaced and links Fulio's associates to Lil Papa's passing. Additionally, it's spreading viral everywhere. However, you should hear the whole tale before you believe anything you've read online, because what actually happened to Lil Papa? No headline can compare to the unsettling fact. Another one was lost by them. The entire neighborhood woke up to some news that made everyone feel nauseous on the morning of February 18, 2026. At 11:23 a.m., Lil Papa, real name Janarius Michael Wheeler, the young man from Jacksonville's East Side who had been putting his heart out on wax for years, was declared dead. Georgia's Fulton County, Eastern Time. My brother was just 25 years old, family. He's not even close to reaching his full potential. One of Duval's most slept-on voices was this cat, and then it was gone. A whole city in ruins, a popular topic, and no warning or farewell. Additionally, the news was delivered in a most disorganized manner. His people are not the source of it. It is not from CMG. It's not from an unofficial source. No, the rumors began to circulate on X and forums. One of the first to post it that morning was the Duval promo account on Threads, which said that the city was in sorrow after hearing that Jacksonville rapper Lil Papa had died. Every timeline, group chat, and comment section started to go nuts at that point. People were in denial, posting things like, "Lil Papa news better not be real." Last night, they were listening to his new song, and this was only 5 days before he passed away on February 13th. Papa had released his most recent song, Out of Town Bay, with a full music video. The song was still playing, people were still bumping it in the whip, and by mid-afternoon, the man behind it had vanished. TMZ confirmed the death directly from the Fulton County Medical Examiner's office, and Newsweek followed up with confirmation from a senior medical examiner investigator. Mara and Brian Joss Ryan of NY Daily News trailed closely behind. Each and every one of them made the same statement. Investigation is ongoing to determine the cause and manner of death. There are no details. No foul play has been proven. Only mayhem on the internet and quiet from the authorities. Additionally, you are well aware of how the streets behave in the absence of an official word. Everyone can become a detective in an instant. Suicide. Within hours, some on X, such as AllMaroon775, posted rumors claiming that Lil Papa's death was a suicide. Man, check on your people. Others were speculating about medications, overdoses, and other bizarre situations. He was even discovered lying next to phony medicines in a Florida crib, according to one unverified report, which completely contradicts the certified Georgia location where he was formally pronounced. The podcast guys got right on it. They broke it down on air the same day, and because they were so focused on the situation, their delivery of it struck a new note.
No, what's up with this Lil Papa? What's all
Okay,
this?
yeah,
tell us about that.
What's relevant to what we got?
Soon as they sat down, the chat was already flooding with the news. Nobody could focus on nothing else.
We got a rapper from Jacksonville, Florida, named Lil Papa. I believe he was affiliated with Young and Ace.
And right there, that's the line that connects everything. Because the second they mention Yoon and Ace, you already know what conversation is coming next. The war, the bodies, the beef that turned Jacksonville into a graveyard.
So he was obviously a part of that whole war that's been going on out there between Fulio's camp and Young and Ace's camp and all that.
For precisely this reason, all online conspiracy theorists began blaming Fulio's people. Because in the streets, if Fulio was a KTA and Papa was on the ATK side of things, and Fulio was recently assassinated in 2024 by those associated with ATK, then the sum of those numbers equals one word: retaliation. But in a moment, we'll find out if that math really works. You must first comprehend the depth of this feud. You see, the ATK versus KTA war, which has claimed over 300 lives since 2017, has shaped Jacksonville's rap scene. It's not a typo. Law authorities believe that Papa was connected to the 1200 East Side gang through his crew cut circle, and the 300 ATK Ace that killed this was Young Ace's side. Conversely, Fulio's camp, 6 Block, represented the North Side Mondry neighborhood, and KTA killed them all. However, this is something that many people are unaware of. In fact, Fulio and Lil Papa were initially cool. They were running in the same circles, grooving and creating music together. In an interview, Fulio himself attested to all of this. When Papa's name was mentioned by the interviewer, the atmosphere instantly changed.
Another shocking thing you mentioned in the record was Lil Papa, another Jacksonville artist who releases quality music.
Even the interviewer acknowledged it. Papa made quality music. The man stayed in his lane, wasn't on the blogs beefing with nobody. But none of that mattered when the streets started talking. When asked about the history, Fulio didn't hold back one bit.
We fought. I beat his ass type shit. I had beat his ass and shit in the mall and shit. Me and my little cousin Coach had beat his ass.
And that's how it ended up from the studio to the hands. That right there is Fulio admitting to the infamous Avenues Mall Foot Locker altercation in 2018, where him and his cousin Coach the Ghost allegedly jumped Papa over perceived sneak disses in his music.
How do you go from making songs with somebody to fighting? Like, what is that energy? How did that energy even come about? Like, what happened?
Real question. How you go from the booth to throwing blows? And Fulio's answer broke the whole code on how Jacksonville beef works.
This what it be, Sean. When I make a song, I say people's name right. I'm direct with it.
So Fulio saw himself as a real one. No subliminals, no coded bars. He put your name right in the song. But in his eyes, Papa was the one throwing shots on the low.
Y'all don't hear the 1,000 sneak disses a nigga say to me, antagonize me and shit.
The battle at the mall was now over. The ATK-KTA blood flood was the larger picture. In 2018, Lil Papa, his brother Chi-Chi, and a homeboy were the targets of a drive-by. Papa's two men were smoked. He was grazed. One of the rawest, most gut-wrenching songs to ever come out of Jax is that gunshot birth, Purple Hearts. Music continued to escalate the fight. Fulio's and ATK's Who I Smoke, both sides, adopted When I See You as their anthem. Each track names the other camp's deceased members. However, Papa deliberately chose not to release any diss tunes. He remained true to his personal style, which was evident in his melancholic trap, agony music, and candid discussions about melancholy and survival. Fulio was then discovered to be lacking in Tampa on June 23, 2024, while celebrating his 26th birthday. Ambushed. Rashad Murphy, also known as Poppy of the ATK-affiliated 1200 group, was one of the individuals arrested, although Papa's name was not mentioned in any of the reports. And his reaction. He became more animated. No insults, only introspection. He discussed karma. A man gets what he gives. His maturity was commended by the internet. According to Reddit, Papa gave the most reaction to Fulio's passing. You may see why the net began yelling retribution when Papa himself appeared dead less than 2 years later. Remember 6 blocks. KTA is the story, don't forget. Here's the truth though. There is not a scrap of reliable proof that connects Lil Papa's death to Fulio's associates. Not one. By 2021, the beef was said to have cooled. Papa handled Fulio's death in a dignified manner, and the inquiry suggests that personal issues, not operational issues, were the cause. However, when there's a narrative to promote, the internet disregards the data. And that was precisely that threw the entire story into overdrive. Okay, because this wasn't just some random jit from the hood who got on a hot streak. You had to get to know Lil Papa beyond the clicks, the clickbait, and the beefs in order to truly comprehend the scope of what we lost on February 18. Born on March 18, 2000, Janarius Michael Wheeler grew up on the east side of Jacksonville, the area of Duval where funerals are more frequent than birthday celebrations and the murder rate is low. He went from the trenches to the majors. He was exposed to ATK as a child thanks to cats like Whopper and Spinner Bins. Additionally, the police identified his squad cut circle as being associated with the 1200 East Side gang. The environment is that. He was born in that soil. But Papa was different, even as he emerged amid all that carnage, static, and smoke. Papa was creating catchy, reflective songs that touched on topics no one in Jacksonville was truly addressing, like pain, survival, and depression, while all the other rappers in the city were releasing drill records and diss tracks. People's descriptions of his sound also revealed it. Check out what this artist had to say about what set Papa apart.
And I love Lil Papa. Let's
so
start
raw.
there. Yeah, I love him. I think his sound is different. And
In a city full with drill rappers going after each other's necks, that's what everyone said about Papa. This individual created a complete lane that was all his own. Even other artists were taken aback by Papa's desire to work with them. He had that kind of enthusiasm, modest, grounded, and merely attempting to create authentic music with those that shared his vibe. What made Bruh famous was the mixtape series Under Investigation. His calling card in the industry was that body of work. Evidence that a young person from Duval's gutter could create deeply human and intimate partnerships that went beyond the street. The 2018 drive-by that killed his homeboys and left him severely damaged inspired songs like Purple Hearts. It wasn't only music. Confessions were made, sessions of therapy over music. Papa survivors feel regret and guilt for being the one who survived. You could hear that this wasn't cap when the innie was by your side and you weren't. This was a genuine ache, and the honesty was shown. In 2022, Lil Papa joined Yo Gotti's collective music group CMG, which was partnered with Interscope Records. The glow-up was meant to be that.
The ticket from hood legend to nationwide star was meant to be that. I suppose he was plunging headfirst into sadness with songs like Blessed and Love and War, which demonstrated his breadth. And when the culture was still making fun of people for seeking therapy, he was rapping about mental health on songs like Mind Over Matter. The supporters rode for him like warriors because they truly connected with him and understood the suffering that was beneath the songs. His songs were streamed religiously. In their captions, they included quotes from his bars. In his words, they recognized themselves. However, beneath all of that momentum, all of that grinding, and all of that upward trajectory, Papa was engaged in struggles that the bag was unable to resolve. The sickle cell anemia comes first. Bra has been candid about his battle with sickle cell, a disorder that causes excruciating pain flare-ups that can leave you bedridden for days. Additionally, the accompanying pain management typically entails strong medicine. Managing chronic pain while juggling a recording schedule, touring schedule, and label commitments is a burden that most people would find impossible to bear. The threat is even greater when you take into account the fentanyl dilemma, which involves fake pills that appear to be identical to your genuine prescription but contain enough synthetic material to kill a horse. Then, the personal losses continued to mount. There were more than simply bullet wounds from the 2018 shooting. His mental health was severely damaged, and he took the trauma and survivor's guilt into every session and performance. To make matters worse, his homeboy Corbin Johnson was abducted and murdered during the ATK-KTA conflict. Additionally, rumors of a purported split and the death of a family member circulated in the weeks prior to his passing. The kind of punches that have the power to push someone who was already on the edge, over the edge. Then there were Papa's own remarks. This is the section that caused the entire internet to tremble. He shared an Instagram story with Rod Wave's lyrics shortly before his death was officially announced, letting it go. Both you and I are aware of what transpired. The world won't. That was sufficiently cryptic. However, he had tweeted something much more eerie 2 weeks prior. Additionally, an artist who spoke with him at the time described exactly what Papa had told them over the phone.
Woke up, read me a Bible verse, got some breakfast in my system, talked to God about it.
That's Papa's own words being relayed. He was talking about his morning routine, his spirit, but then the next thing he laid on them?
You know what I'm saying? And he laid it on me. I got one more album, EP, mixtape, whichever one it's gonna be, I got one more.
Perhaps some assumed he was referring to withdrawing from the game, taking a vacation, or changing who he was when he said that. However, those words now strike like a freight train. With this, the conspiracy crowd went all tinfoil hat. A few fans brought up the 2022 CMG signing in which someone wrote on X, "Stop blank lying." Before he signed with Yo Gotti, Lil Papa wasn't experiencing any DC issues. Is there concrete proof that the label contributed to his issues? No, not at all. However, the sentiment resonated with something genuine in the streets, the idea that once you commit to a major, the system will devour you. Others went even farther with theories of sacrifice and gematria numbered 97 nonsense, which have no proof but strike a chord after you've seen too many young artists pass away inexplicably. In the meantime, if Papa was listening, he was demonstrating to the entire world exactly where his head was. That's precisely what the podcast crew brought up. That's one viewpoint, and it's a weighty one. However, what really counts, and what we will dissect in part 3, is the discussion they had after that regarding the causes of this, the culture, and the pressure. Lil Papa is mourned by the entire culture. The culture is rocked when a young artist, particularly one as genuine, raw, and gifted as Lil Papa, checks out. Shock is the first wave. Grief is the second wave. Everyone who has ever shared a studio, a stage, a phone conversation, or a playlist with that individual comes up to give their thoughts during the third wave. And some of the most sincere, poignant, and gut-wrenching responses the rap scene has seen in years were the tributes that were sent in for Papa, bruh. One of the first originals to step up was Boozy. He and Papa had collaborated on songs like Untamed. This was more than simply a required REP post then. This man really clicked with the younger generation.
I won't give a TIP Thug and Peace to Lil Papa, man. Yeah, my little nigga right there, you know.
Additionally, you could hear Boo's voice growing. The incredulity gave way to genuine, unadulterated sorrow. Even Boozy's children were having a blast, with Papa. That reveals everything about the extent of his reach, from the trenches to the living rooms, from the streets to the families. The artist who had actually called Papa heard the enthusiasm in his voice and now had to live with the knowledge that one of their final talks was full of hope that would never come true. However, had the reaction that was likely the toughest. Co-signing artists dream of working with Papa and getting a song straight from him, and it hurts differently to know that the person who sent you that track is no longer with you. The Jackson native Lil Duval then wrote on social media, "This one really hurt me because I really cared about Papa." The majority of Jacksonville knew him prior to his notoriety. There you have it, hood love.
I loved someone as a person before I ever knew them, before the record agreements, before the streaming, before anything related to the industry. As thousands watched, Big Pluto responded live on stream, clearly shaken and finding it difficult to take in the news. You could hear the shock in real time, and his girl also heard the news. And one of Papa's first partners, Caroline Bearline Diaz, CEO of Great Day Records, wrote on social media, "My little brother is gone. I adore you so much, Papa. I'm completely broken. My younger brother has passed away. It's not business related, family is that." Social media fan tributes were just as potent. A junior Casabilla posted depressing news on X. At the age of 25, Jacksonville rapper Lil Papa went away. Rest in peace to a budding artist. The news of Lil Papa's death is devastating, Itasha726 wrote. Far too soon. Rest in peace. Fans' comments about how sleepy he was while he was living were the ones that truly affected me. One of our generation's greatest talents is Rippy Lil Papa. Extremely underappreciated. And it's always like that, isn't it? We don't distribute flowers to anyone until the coffin is closed. Some Reddit users in RR Duval County reacted negatively to the cheesy remarks, pointing out that some of you had some extremely cheesy reactions to a person's passing. That energy was verified by real ones. And since they weren't just mourning the man, that's where the actual discussion took place on the show. They explained the precise reason why young black artists continue to experience this. It seems that many individuals who have been paying careful attention to the mythos didn't find this surprising, because I suppose those who were truly tuned in to Papa's content recognized it coming. They could see the signs in his posts, songs, and enthusiasm. The hardest part is that. Consider the ordeal Papa endured by 25, made it through a shootout in which his friends were killed, grew raised in one of the nation's most hazardous cities, label pressure, personal losses piling up like unpaid bills, and chronic disease. When one of the hosts discussed the pressure that the black community in particular places on itself, it really hit home. As part of his Almost Normal Again tour, he had a gig scheduled in New Orleans for March. Even the name of the tour, Almost Normal Once More, it reveals everything about where his head was at when you truly sit with it. Additionally, Papa himself demonstrated to the public on one of his Instagram lives that he was still active, working hard, and present. "I dropped The Sun today, but I forgot. Dustin isn't out at the moment. Man, I'm missing something right now." Go get that shit, bro. Everyone. Man, it's available on all platforms. That's Papa live streaming his music on Instagram, continuing to work hard and share his creativity with the world. A man who still had that drive, who still wanted his music to be heard, and who was still fighting. Let me take this entire situation home. The inquiry by the Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office is currently in progress. Results from autopsies and toxicology could take weeks. Everything else, including theories, rumors, and viral videos that purport to depict what actually transpired, is conjecture until the results are in. We are convinced that a parent, artist, and Duval icon who was 25 years old is no longer with us. As admirers return to the bars that initially drew them in, his library will witness a resurgence of interest. When we lose one of our own, streaming numbers will rise as usual. The true lesson, however, goes beyond the streams, the contributions, and the popular subjects. Really check in on your people. Not merely a like on their post or a why text. Actually see how they're doing. Because sometimes the most difficult battles are fought behind closed doors by those who appear to have it all together. And furthermore, it can already be too late by the time the symptoms become apparent. If you or a loved one is going through a difficult time, the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline 988 can be reached via phone or text. It's not costly, it's private, and it might mean the difference between losing and keeping another legend. Peaceful Thug, Lil Papa Duval legend, worldwide legend. Long live Papa. If you haven't already, hit like, comment with your favorite Papa song, and subscribe. See how your people are doing. While they are still here to hear it, tell them you love them.